What's going on, everybody? How you doing? I'm Deonte Burden, aka Mr. Short Dollar himself. Sorry for the late live feed, but your boy been working today. But I want to have a discussion with you guys today in regards to, I'm an accountant by profession. I've been in the tax business over 20 years, over 25 years, been in business over 20 years. And I want to have a discussion with you guys in regards to some common mistakes that people can't afford to make. And this is from an individual standpoint. This is from a small business standpoint. Far too often, too many times, people make certain mistakes, and those mistakes, even though they're innocent and genuine mistakes, but sometimes they can come back and bite you in the butt real bad. So these are some things I just want to go over with you guys in regards to some common mistakes that I've seen over the past 20 years that you need to be mindful of. Far too often, especially in the day of the Q&A software, what I mean by the question and answer software, your TurboTax, your tax ad, H&R Block software, where basically people just have to put in their name, address, just do basic data entry. You have a lot more mistakes there because you're comfortable and because you didn't necessarily double check or proofread to make sure everything's correct. It's not uncommon to see mistakes there. The unfortunate part about that, once it's sent, and you never know how impactful that mistake could be because of certain things. So what I want to go over with you guys tonight is some common mistakes that you really can't afford to make with your taxes, but I also give you perspective from personal tax and also some business tax mistakes that people make all the time. Before we get started, again, I am Deonte Burden, aka Mr. Short Dollar. Mr. Short Dollar, we talk about personal finance, business, entrepreneurship, and investing. Right now, we're streaming live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and TikTok. So right, and we're all on all those platforms. The main hub is the Mr. Short Dollar YouTube channel. Again, that's Mr. Short Dollar YouTube channel. Well, we got over 600 videos on the YouTube channel covering those particular subjects what we just mentioned: business, entrepreneurship, personal finance, and investing. But right now, like I say again, guys, I've been in the tax business over 20 years, so I want to just have a discussion with you guys in regards to some common tax mistakes that most people make from personal and business perspective. And with that said, it may sound funny, but the most common thing, again, with the whole advent of Q&A software, just your basic data entry stuff, your names, the names of you, the names of your children, a lot of times, getting mixed up. The good part about it, sometimes with the softwares, a lot of times they'll catch it. Well, you can actually put the information in, but when it uploads and goes to the IRS, They usually kick it back if there are spelling errors or something like that with with the names, because the names not match what's on the IRS the database in regards to names match with the social security numbers. It usually gets a reject with that. Depending on who's doing your taxes, be it you or somebody else, that may be caught earlier, sooner than later, but you never know. But it's just one of the things that people know. Another besides the name, and this is something that's not caught, and this was something that can kind of bite you in the butt, is addresses. And I always tell people, just being in the business, especially when I have not even young preparers, just preparers in general, you got to make sure you check those addresses. Because what happens, people move, change residencies, things like that happen, and you never know when correspondence has to go back to that address, when things have to be mailed back, i.e., checks and things like that, or different forms. If you have the old address in, and the old address is probably a place where the mail not necessarily getting forwarded to the new one, it can cause a lot of problems. So you got to make sure that when you're doing your taxes, especially if you have been using a software, again, the Tax Act, TurboTax, or one of those, and the information is saved in there, and because you just logged in and got in there, you didn't update it. You got to make sure you double check everything, everything. Trust me with that. So you want to make sure you do that. Even keep in mind, guys, like I said, I'm an accountant, and it may sound funny, but I still, when I was I'm old school, I still use the check register, and it comes with a checkbook. The reason being is because being an accountant and going through doing reconciliations every month, 20 years just for doing it, banks make mistakes. Banks make mistakes. And I ain't talking about a couple quarters of dollars. I'm talking about 20, 30, $100,000. Banks make mistakes. Keep in mind, banks have people that work, doing lockbox and doing data entry at nighttime. So there's still people involved. And with people, we have, human error, human mistakes. So you always want to double check things, just like, it's you have so much technology going on, but there's room for error and mistakes. Okay, guys, feel free to tune in, make any comments, anything if you're checking us out right now. Matter of fact, you're in one of the lives, just hit the number one right now. Hit the number one. I want to see who's all in and stuff. I appreciate it. I know I'm late with everything, but your boy been grinding today. But definitely check those addresses. Check those addresses, because that is very, very common in regards to a lot of times I've seen, especially from my side of the preparers, when you don't update people's addresses, when correspondence, i.e., checks and forms, have to get mailed back to a person, it's going to the wrong place. It's going back to the wrong place. So definitely check. Make sure you double check those addresses that's on there. Okay. Another thing is bank information. Bank information, far too often when you're doing your return, and especially just, like, again, the information. That's why it's so critical that if you're using any kind of software, the same one over a certain period of time, you go through and review everything, because once you get the results that you want, and you go and you'll forget to double check certain things that are locked in, because the software a lot of times will prompt you to input this and input that. But if you see the bank information, okay, that's it, that's fine, you just go through it. You're so busy sometimes just to get to your refund and everything. What's up, Dante? Well, boy, Scott. A lot of times, because you're so busy and want to get to your refund, you forget to just double check certain things, and bank information is one of them. A lot of times when you do that, that causes the issue, because if you do have a refund, the IRS will shoot it to the bank. The bank doesn't match. The bank information doesn't match. It rejects. It goes back to the bank. Then we got that whole problem we talked about before. If the address stuff isn't updated, the IRS is going to turn around and take that refund, mail it out. God, we better hope we got the right address in. If they have the wrong address in, they don't send your check out to somebody else. It may get sent back. They may keep it. And if it's not, and you have to wait a certain period of time where it's not done, and that's the manual to do it, we talking about another 6 to 8 weeks for doing it. It's very, 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 very important that everything is proofread and checked. Okay, that bank information, that's common. That's common, guys. Especially again when you're using a preparer, because depending on who you're going to, they may forget to even ask certain things. Everybody, you think common practice have a little checklist with doing it, everything, but sometimes people may be so excited, like, hey, we got a big refund. We ain't even thinking about, verifying, checking certain things. So if those things ain't matching, that's when we have those particular issues come up. So make sure, again, the names, the address, and that bank information matches. Again, because if once they send that refund out and it gets rejected, it's going to get mailed. You can go through the prompts of calling the bank and say, hey, maybe, they had the wrong information. You may be able to link it up. The problem comes up is what? I don't know if you have had to make a phone call to the IRS in the past couple of years. They're severely understaffed. Now, they're still hiring and bring people in, but they still don't have enough in regards to actually handle the amount of people that in the United States of America that actually file their taxes. And what's happened over the past 10 years, you have more people that were filing electronically and using the softwares, and it just hasn't been, a balanced adjustment in regards to the actual people that are staffed to be able to handle the volume. So you call now, if they're busy, they just hang you up and just tell you to call again. And as crazy as it sounds, that's just how it is. So you have to be very, very careful about everything. So make sure you proofread. Make sure you proofread everything from a personal standpoint with doing it. That data entry stuff, because it doesn't necessarily get hung. I can't stress that to you enough. These are some common mistakes because, again, by you not doing it, hey, love you too, Deonte, man. Hey, good to hear from you, bro. Good to hear from you, man. Give me a buzz, man. You get a chance. Give me a buzz. I inbox you my number, man, if you ain't still got it, man. But yeah, definitely give me a call. But definitely you want to make sure you look at it because, again, when we get into doing the taxes, the information is in, and if it's not, most of the time the software is not stopping on that. But that's a common error. The bank information is not matching, and like I said, if that address is not matching, bank decline it. They're going to actually turn around, flip it to send you a paper check. Because that's easy. Somebody say, well, listen, oh man, Deonte, I forgot to give you my updated information. Now, on my side of it, we're supposed to ask, are there any changes to your address? Are there any changes to your bank information? That's just common practice that preparer is supposed to do. May happen, may not happen, right? But when that happens and that hasn't been updated, be it via the address, because sometimes people, a client can assume, well, look, man, I gave you my W-2. My W-2 got my new address. The preparer ain't down looking at it. They just put the information in. Should they look at it and question it? Sure. But again, that's the kind of thing everybody need to make sure they got proper oversight with doing it. You can't assume that your preparer is going to look at that particular W-2. You might want to let them know, hey, listen, we got updated records. I'm going to have a video probably the next day or so in regards just for preparers, just common mistakes that preparers make, just so everybody kind of can get that. Also, guys, before us, I put a link in there. We got the Mr. Short Dollar tax course come out. So anybody that's interested in getting in the tax preparation industry, or you're already in the tax preparation industry, you just need some insight or some game on how to make your business more successful. I do have the Mr. Short Dollar tax course, and that course is, again, it's not to necessarily teach you how to fill out forms to get a big refund or do a lot of tax savings. Just more so, again, if you wanted to create, or you already have a tax business, how to properly run it effectively and efficiently from a brick and mortar standpoint. If you got a virtual office standpoint, I teach you how to market it year round. I teach you how to process somebody return from the moment they enter the door, from the moment they sit down in the chair, from the moment they leave the door, and how to maintain that relationship year round. We've been in business 20 years. I'm doing grandkids taxes now. But when the people we first started back in 02, 03, when we first started doing their stuff, we're doing their grandkids and stuff taxes now. And a lot of heck is set up because, not just because we did good work, more so we maintain relationships to keep, hey, make sure their kids don't go nowhere, make sure them grandkids don't go nowhere. But and I give you all the information I have in between my ears and that course to teach you how to do that particular item, those particular items to keep you having a sustainable business. You don't stay in business over 20 years, on luck. You do it because you maintain good relationships. Everybody cook good chicken, but everybody, sometimes they get tired of your chicken, go to the new place. And the way you better stay in business, you got to be able to maintain relationships. So the course teaches you all that kind of stuff with doing that. Again, with the proofreading, super, super important. So you got to make sure you do that. So Super common mistake. And a lot of times, it's just not. It's when we're doing things that we're comfortable with, we just forget to double check. So that's why you want to make sure you look at everything. Um, this is a big one right here in regards to common tax mistakes. Not wait till you get all your damn forms. I'm telling you, far too often people in such a rush to get stuff done. Number one, let me give you guys this disclaimer. You are not supposed to file your taxes off your last check stub. Again, you are not supposed to file your taxes off your last check stub. You or your preparer, right? The reason being because you do have it is possible to have a last one of those last periods or earlier periods that income may be misstated or overstated with doing it. So definitely want to make sure that anything that got settled, from that standpoint, is reported. So I would advise anybody to make sure that you wait till you get your W-2 with doing it. I understand if you want your money a little early, I get it. You're supposed to wait. From a compliance standpoint, no tax preparers is supposed to do any taxes off the last check stub. I mean, that's just straight circular 230, tax preparer due diligence. They supposed to have a W-2, not a check stub. It's just the rules of it is people are going to do what they want to do, but I'm just being honest with you with that. And one thing about me, and people know, I don't talk about anybody else's business. I'm cool, so I don't have to get into, hey, they're not going to do this, they don't do that. I would say this to anybody: just be cautious of who you let do your taxes. Sometimes we get caught up with, what they can give me as opposed to how credible they are. Just because you don't necessarily hear something that you like hearing, that doesn't mean they did something wrong, right? Just keep that in mind. We always want to make sure whenever you're dealing with somebody, especially when you deal with these taxes, you got to make sure that you're dealing with somebody credible and verifiable. Credible and verifiable. I can't stress that to you enough, because one thing about the tax preparation industry is that it's changing because they've had more ramifications that can come down to preparers. Usually, if the mistake was made, the onus was on the actual customer. Now it goes back to the preparer. A lot of times, when things happen, when tax season over, you can't really find those particular people who've done it. So I would just, advise you, when you're getting people, you need to make sure that you got people that are credible and verifiable. And again, just because they tell you something you want to hear, don't mean that's the best person for doing that. Okay, you want to make sure you do that. But at that point of the not having all your forms, I understand that you might have forgot about that job you did, the beginning of the year or in the summer or whatever. And I'm mainly talking about a lot of time people are missing those W-2s or 1099s. You forgot about the little part-time job you did, the contract job you did. Oh yeah, I did get them a W-4, and they do have my information. And it happens so often that taxes are filed and income is understated. What I mean by understated, all the income is not reported, because you may have did a gig here or there and just totally forgot to report it. And you may have the paint jobs you did, the pressure washing job you did, the part-time, jobs you did in the sometime the warehouse or your Christmas holiday job. That's a couple $1,000. And that can be changing that can be the difference if you're going to get earned income or not. It can be the difference in terms of what the size of that refund is going to be. So you have to be very, very cautious to do it. I would advise anybody to not file your taxes until after the first week of February, right? I think electronic filing, the IRS started accepting returns on the 24th or the 28th of January. I think 24th, that's when they start accepting returns. I would advise anybody to wait till at least, it won't hurt you the second week of February. Only reason I say that is because that's the deadline. The 31st of January is the deadline that employees have to get everything out to you. Now, just because you didn't receive something and you did it and they did it late, even though they may incur a penalty for reporting this income to you late, just because you received it, don't play dumb. Don't play dumb. You made that money. Man, you try to go through your whole due diligence of giving them a call. Hey, man, where's my W-2? Hey, where's my 1099? You can't get in contact with the phone. I'll wait again at least the first week of February. It won't hurt to do the second, because just say they filed it late. Now you can't sit here and say, well, I didn't get it when I was supposed to get it. I got it later. You know, you did the job. And again, now you turn around, you got a refund from the IRS, and then come 4 months later, they send you a letter saying now you owe a couple $1,000 because your income was understated. You're like, well, what about? I forgot I did do that job. I forgot it, but they didn't send it to me on time. Again, that's on you. That is on you. You need to make sure you got all your damn forms before you file your taxes. It happens far too often. And again, playing dumb just ain't gonna fix it. Playing dumb ain't gonna fix it, right? So I would advise everybody, so we still in the first part of January, try to make some mental notes in regards to all the stuff you did last year, in regards to the income that you made. Just getting your records together. I'm gonna do a video also and just I got the videos. I did the post the other day in regards to Schedule A, Schedule B, Schedule C, Schedule D, Schedule E, just to introduce you to the forms, pretty much what they're used for, the purpose, where, information that you're going to need to fill out each form. Also, where that information, once it's then put it, where it transitions to on the 1040 and the purpose of it. So we got those videos coming out in the next week. So we're going to, once tax season starts and people start trying to getting everything together, early, I think probably maybe that last week of January, all those videos will come out. But you want to make sure you got that information. Also, any kind of mortgage interest, donation, things like that, you want to make sure that you wait till all that stuff come to you in the mail. Far too often we get people doing, especially if we have clients that have rental properties, or they refinance their homes, or they made a mortgage purchase, home purchase. Well, you do the refinance and the home purchase. It may change mortgage companies 2 or 3 times before they get settled in with one. So you may have over a 5-month period, 2 or 3 different payments to each one of those particular mortgage companies. Well, maybe 3. So you're still gonna get a 1098 for each one of those. So that might be 3 or 4 1098s for a calendar year, depending on how that was done. If it was a new purchase or refinance. So you got to be careful. Just wait for everything to come in. That's to your advantage to take advantage of it. So that, again, don't be so, engulfed with getting it done. You say, well, look, I can always do an amendment. I get it. When we start going that route of doing certain things, then we start doing amendment things. Now we're going to a different time frame for the processing. Remember, when we start doing corrections or when things are kind of missing or whatever, now it's going into a process where it goes to up to this amount of time, up to that. You don't want to get into that. When you got to start correcting stuff, you don't know when it's going to get fixed. I can speak for myself personally. I had an issue with the IRS. I owed the year before last, got a refund. And I had made my payment prior to filing my taxes. But because different departments had updated the payment was made in relation to the refund, they took some of it. So the problem come up now. If I have enough time, just to sit on the phone, to call and get in contact with them, most of the time they're busy with everything. So I can't get anybody on the phone. They're hanging up on me. Then I finally got somebody on the phone. That's going to take a couple months. Long story short, I didn't get my money to December. The difference. So I'm just telling you that even though sometimes we can say like, hey, it may take 6 to 8 weeks for doing it, you still gotta be able to put yourself in a position where you can call and sit on the phone and wait. That is very, very, very tough because again, the IRS not easy in the world to get in contact with. So kind of just really just, be thinking of that in regards to that. Those forms, make sure you got everything. Make that little preseason checklist now. You know what you did. If you did a little contract job, whatever, I did this, I worked there. Okay, I did, start this business. Make your little checklist and make sure you got all your particular information. You got rental properties. Make sure you got all your information from your property management company. If you have one, or if you have your stuff, we need to make sure one big thing. Avoid these rounded numbers. If you want to get audited, you have to stop putting these damn rounded numbers on these tax returns. And what I mean by the rounded numbers, I paid 2,000 for this, 1,000 for that, 5,000 for that. No one does that. If you put $2,345, got you. $3,143, got it. That's a number. No one spends just straight rounded numbers. Now, if you paid $100 of rent for a year, $1,200, that's understandable. But when you got a sheet full of rounded numbers, you're going to get audited, especially in today's world where we have AI, the artificial intelligence, scanning these returns, and they're looking for trends and kind of numbers, especially in relation to doing certain things. You need to be careful with that. Be careful with that. So again, keep your records. Stop guesstimating, because if the situation comes up where you have to prove it, you want to make sure you can do that. Okay. You want to make sure you can substantiate everything. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. The amount of money, stress, and headaches that you will have going through a damn audit, because you're not for sure. If you don't have it, you don't have it. Bite the bullet. You can always go later on once you find it and do that amendment. But if it's just a matter, it just haven't came in. Wait till it comes in. Okay, that's one of the biggest things. You want to make sure you do that. My notes and everything, guys. Again, go back to the credible preparer. Please, please, please make sure you get somebody that's credible and verifiable. Do a Google search on them. Research, do things on with that. I'm gonna say this too. I'm gonna not none of the bigger brands, the H&R Blocks of Jackson Hewitt. They I pretty much look at everybody that's doing on face value. They want to do the right thing. I'm not one of those folks sit here and tell you I can hook you up and give you that. And I know some people that may be their thing, but I will say this: you want to make sure you ain't dealing with somebody that's totally seasonal. You want to make sure you got somebody that's seasoned, depending on how difficult your return is. If you have just a simple return and it's just straight data entry, it probably won't be much of an issue. But if you have some things that may be a little bit more complicated, whatever, you might want to get somebody a little more reputable. Now, reputable is not cheap. I get it. But sometimes the money that you may feel that you can't afford to pay, you can't afford not to pay it. So again, if you can get somebody in there that can actually, that they're going to have your best interest, they're seasoned and be able to do all the stuff that you need, I definitely get on top of it. I won't cut corners on because of cost. I wouldn't even play with it. I'm not even on BS you. When we start talking about your taxes far too often, because you get the wrong person doing your stuff and they're promoting it, again, people can tell you, I can get you this, I can get you to max this or max that and stuff like that. You need to make sure you got somebody that's seasoned, especially if you got some stuff going on for businesses, rental properties. You may have to actually do some things in regards to your children's education and stuff. You're looking to purchase a home, and you may be self-employed. I'm telling you, you better get somebody credible. You better find somebody credible and don't worry so much about the price, because you can be in a world of fixing and they'll cost you 3 times as much. And the people that be done disappear. I had this conversation with people all the time. I'm not a cheap tax person. I think we're reasonable. I'm not a cheap tax person, but at the end of the day, we got all this spyware, malware, audit insurance. We got regular liability, general liability insurance. All these kind of things you can't have that if you're the cheapest person in the world. You can't have that. So sometimes we don't want to sacrifice that. And I don't want to go too far for that as far as pricing, but definitely do your research whoever you go to and everything. I would definitely go. There ain't one of them times we can sit here and promote our business or anything like that. We're cool. If you want to come to us, that's great. But I'm just being, wherever you are, make sure you check who's doing your stuff. Okay, do a Google search on them. If they get defensive on them and everything like that, that's on that. But you can actually, we're in a digital age. Most stuff's right there at your fingertips. So don't mess around when it comes to your personal information. You can give them your name, your address, your social security number, your bank information, your children's social and everything. You better know who the hell you're dealing with. You better know who you're dealing with, right? And even if they're not doing anything crooked, you want to make sure they got systems in place to protect you. That is so, because we're in the age of hackers. We're in the age of people, just being able to, wipe your whole history out with a fingertip, right? So you want to make sure whoever got your stuff, they have systems in place. And I'm just being honest with you. This antivirus stuff is not cheap. All these systems and all this, these firewalls, when you're protecting real stuff, it's not cheap. So you want to make sure that, again, don't get it, twisted so much, in regards to, well, they want to charge this, want to charge that. They're protecting your stuff. Because if you've been a victim of identity theft, you know that's a lot of stuff to go through to fix and go move forward. So don't compromise price with quality, right? So wherever you go, just again do some kind of research to make sure you got somebody credible and verifiable when you're doing those particular taxes. I want you to definitely make sure of that. Okay. So that's pretty much a rundown in regards. We talk about common mistakes from a personal tax standpoint. Now what I want to spin it off into now is some things more from a business standpoint. Can be business or even rental properties and things like that. These are common mistakes that people have when they're doing those aside from the personal realm. Again, I'm Deonte Burden, aka Mr. Short Dollar himself. Tonight we're talking about common tax mistakes you can't afford to make. Again, common tax mistakes that you can't afford to make. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Twitter. The main hub is the Mr. Short Dollar YouTube channel, where we have over 600 videos covering personal finance, business, entrepreneurship, and investing. So again, regardless if you're coming in late, coming in the middle of the show, you can always go to Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. Again, that's Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. You'll see the whole show, the whole video from there, just in case you came in later and missed it, or you want to look back at it later, okay? That is the main hub. So, and you take advantage of all the other great information we have currently on the channel as well. So, when we start talking about business, these are common mistakes that people make in regards to just with business taxes. Like I say, they can cover business taxes. You got properties and things like that. All this kind of like on that same realm with people doing it. And this is one of the things you got to stay away from, mixing personal and business stuff. You got to make sure that you're not co-mingle, keep everything separate. Let me tell you something. Just because you got a business license or LLC and a tax ID number, that just means the business is created. How you run that business and operate it determines everything, right? We say the difference between an employee and a contractor. You see so many people, they have people working for them, but they don't want to pay payroll taxes, so they give them a 1099 at the end of the year. But then when they get audited and they explain the actual relationship, no, that's an employee. Now you got to pay all these back payroll taxes. You have to understand the difference between, personal and business. You can't mix them. So I always tell people, make sure you keep separate accounts. Have your personal account, have your business account. Okay? What you do, just because, I'm telling you, all these videos with people telling you, well, you can go on a business trip and take your family and charge it on car says to be in the trip. Yeah, it's going to get audited listening to these people. I'm telling you, stay away from that because you got to understand something. Everything got to be in relation, right? Everything got to be in relation. If you turn around and have a business trip that costs $3,000, right? And those candles that you're selling, that you're parlaying because you got a regular job, and you're parlaying with selling candles, and you only maybe have made $700-800. We pushing that number during the whole year, but you got this $3,000 travel bill that you say it was for meetings that we took. You are about to get audited. I'm telling you, you may get away with it one year, might get away with it again. But I'm telling you, and let me tell you how the IRS works. Every now and then you get a letter that year. They go like in a 2 or 3 year lag, sometimes a little longer than that. So you get the letter this year when 2023, something you did in 2021, you don't remember what the hell you put down. You can't even remember who exactly did your taxes that year, depending on how it is. So remember, everything got to be in relation. You do have some things where it might be initial startup costs with your business. Say you start your business up and let's say October, November, December, and you're buying like the equipment. You may, started like got your food truck together. So you bought the truck, you're getting all the pieces together, insurance, everything getting in compliance. So that was you spent the last quarter doing that. So you had really no income coming in, just your basic startup costs. That's not uncommon. So that's fine. But when you turn around and say, listen, these are, when that stuff has a trend, so especially we're talking about depending on what you're doing, okay, they can look at it and see what kind of industry or business you are and just say, okay, those are reasonable startup costs for that particular business, okay? Remember, guys, again, I can't stress you enough, the way everything is now, a lot of that stuff is taking out the human component of everything stuff. Thanks everybody tuning in. The human component is out of a lot of stuff in regards to people getting tired eyes, whatever. Most of the stuff is AI. They're looking at this stuff, scanning it. So you start want to put in the new furniture you bought, like I said, that vacation trip, you want to put that stuff in your taxes, and you don't have business activity or income in relation to that, I'm telling you what's going to be coming down the pipe. I'm telling you, you can't. You got to stop listening to damn people. What you don't have is when you sit there and have credible people. That's what I'm talking about. An accountant tell you, Have you ever noticed a lot of times, even when you look on it on social media, people will give you advice on how to cure erectile dysfunction or diabetes, reduce cancer and stuff like that. Most of the time, it's not a doctor. Most of the time, it's some people just sitting in their kitchen, boiling lemons and celery or some grass and stuff, telling you to drink this, and you won't have diabetes and stuff. But anybody that's credible, they're not going to tell you that. People tell you not to say this and not to do that. Most time, an attorney or how to behave in a certain way or do certain things. Most times, it's not an attorney because they have to actually, number one, you can't give holistic advice. They have to understand what your situation, what's going on before they render advice to you. But a lot of times people just give out just blind advice, and because it sounds good or sounds cool, people tend to move and believe that and stuff like that and everything. Now I appreciate you, Dent, man. Thanks for tuning in, my brother. But you got to be very, very careful for that because again, like I say, you see these people and they're giving out all this advice. I just seen a guy. One of my boys sent a video where the brother was giving out advice about Lord, I hate I'm forgetting not Frank here the counsel I forgot not I forgot what it is one of the counsel, but the guy was just giving out advice. These are symptoms of this, these are symptoms of that. This guy's not a damn doctor. And one thing about it, guys, I understand we all want to be healthy and do things the right way, especially out of fear. Usually, when things are done wrong, you end up taking to the person that's credible anyway. So if you do really get sick, you end up going to the doctor. You do get audited, you're gonna end up going to an accountant or a tax lawyer. You know what I'm saying? So if you get jammed up real bad and arguing with the police and they take you in and stuff like that, you ain't listen to the guy you heard on YouTube. You're gonna get your damn attorney. So at the end of the day, it's still gonna circle back to the person that's going to be credible and verifiable. So be very, very careful of that. So we want to make sure that we're not mixing that personal and business expense. You keep everything together, everything's separate in regards to keeping the records for that. Everything that's business related. Keep separate accounts. I mean, at most $100. I mean, the least, I'm sorry, pay like $100. Someplace you can get a free business account. Just keep it separate. Just keep it separate. I understand sometimes you might take some of your personal money to get everything started, but still need to keep records. If you don't, go get you a bookkeeper. If you're not familiar with doing it yourself, we're doing it. Try to do as much research as possible. I'm a firm believer in. I understand everybody starts at different levels with doing, especially how you are from a capacity of your time, your money, your knowledge. In my business, just being an accountant, we get skipped a lot because there's no barrier to entry for starting your business. What I mean by that, accountants, lawyers, architects, people skip over us a lot of times because you can start your business without us, but you do need us. But there's no barrier. Most of the time, you still got to go to the insurance guy because depending on what you're starting off, you may have some kind of coverage or whatever. So a lot of times, people still have to go to an insurance person, but that accountant, a lawyer, an architect, you'll skip over that. The problem comes up if something bad happens and then you got to fix it. That's when you got to come to us. And that's when it's way more expensive to do that. So sometimes, like I say again, guys, when you forecast and start these businesses up, start getting them numbers together. What I always say, plan with numbers, because numbers gonna keep you accountable, right? We can sit here and say rent gonna be this, accountant gonna be that, insurance gonna be that, the little, quarterly lawyer payment, you pay the little retainer for attorney, all that kind of stuff can be listed. And we have the numbers where we can sit here and look at it. And now we can plan as opposed to, I'm just going to do this and react, do that and react, do this and react. You'll keep starting over and over and over and over doing that. That's not a smart strategy to do that. And that's really one of the main reasons small businesses pretty much always fail because people plan with words and words just make you dream and people don't plan with numbers and numbers keep you accountable. That's the difference, guys. So you got to make sure you're not mixing business and personal. Make sure you're keeping good records. That's another thing. Make sure you're keeping good records. If you can't get them accounting software, I would, get QuickBooks. You can go if you're not really familiar with QuickBooks, and that's pretty much just the standard in regards to just basic accounting software. If you're not able to do that, you can get you a decent bookkeeper, paying them $150 a month. I think they got we run a package about $250 a month with bookkeeping and payroll, and that's just basic little startup package. But most even I think maybe $150 a month we're doing it. With your bookkeeping packages, we're doing it. Again, these are things that it don't stop you from you're not stopped from not having to starting your business up, but it will bite you in the tail if you don't have these things in place. Okay, so we want to make sure you got good records, because at the end of the year when you do file them taxes, you're not dealing with a shoebox full of receipts trying to figure out what's what. And I'm telling you, when you go to a tax person, they can't do nothing with that stuff. They can't do nothing with that stuff. They can't do anything. They can't do anything with it, right? So just try to have some kind of order. Make your little Excel spreadsheet or get some to have those things in place. You want to make sure you got proper records, because a lot of times by not having the records, you can be selling yourself short, missing out on certain things. We're doing it, having the right mileage logs and things like that. Keep good records of everything. Segregate those expenses. Well, I mean, segregate. Keep all the automobile expenses together, all the fuel expenses together, all the rent expenses together, all the repair expenses together. Keep all that stuff together, because the only thing you need to do is give your taxpayer the actual ending numbers, right? That's all they need to see, the ending numbers. Because again, you're stating that, hey, these numbers are true with that, so they don't have to go back and verify everything. That's what you submitted to them. If you give them a P&L or profit and loss or income statement saying this is how much money we brought in, this is how much money we spent on those particular items and stuff, they just got to, from that point, do data entry, because that's what you gave them. But if you can give them something clean like that, that'll be perfect. That's a perfect world. But you got to make sure that you have the right records in place to be doing that. The next thing is, from a business standpoint, filing the wrong forms. Okay, far too often people come to me, and this is a common one. People say, I got my LLC, I need to get my LLC filed. You have to tell people, listen, what the LLC is filed. If you're a single owner LLC, it's filed with your Schedule C, with your personal return. And so you tell me, now I don't want to do my personal return right now. I just want to do my business return. You have to file it with your personal return, right? You have to file it with your personal return. No, I don't want to do that. Listen, it's not what you want to do, it's how it has to be done. As far too often people don't know exactly how certain things are done. When you have a subchapter S or S corporation, that 1120S got to be done, and the K1 is taken to your personal return. And if you got a partnership doing the 1065 and that K1 is taken to your personal return, all these kind of things got to be done. If you got a straight corporation just doing that 1120, that's separate, and then doing your personal, depending on if you had any distributions or dividends that came from that information got to be taken from that. You got to make sure you're using the right forms. So you need to make sure, if you're not for sure, go pay somebody to know what the hell they're doing. Just pay somebody to do it. It'll save you so much heartache and pain with doing it. So don't try to cut corners on everything. So make sure you're not filing the wrong forms. I didn't know. I thought, or they told me this right there. That's not going to be a proper defense. It's not going to be a proper defense, right? I know my lane. I've talked to attorneys before. I'm like, God, whew, I can't do it. And I'm telling you, I have got and downloaded some of them Google contracts and stuff like that. And then when it came down to sue somebody, I ain't have a leg to stand up in court. So okay, I'm trying to avoid paying that $500,000 to get these contracts drafted. I couldn't afford not to, because by not paying that caused me to lose $4-5 grand, because I couldn't sue these people, because this little thing I got on Google said so many damn loopholes, because I don't know how to speak that heretofore, and if that happens, and if that, what attorneys know how to speak, right? I don't know that. I know the numbers, and that's what I know. And far too often that happens with people, and you have to go through something for you to understand the magnitude of having those things in place. Very, very important with that. That's very, very important. So make sure you stay away from filing the wrong forms. skipping or underestimating those estimated tax payments. You know, those estimated tax payments usually due on the 15th of April, June, September, and January. You want to make sure that you are actually paying them those estimated tax payments. That's if you know you're having a profit each quarter with making those payments in. If you don't, you're going to have to pay them back plus a penalty on top of that and stuff. So you don't ever want to get yourself caught up in that. I've had that coupled with if you have to run payroll or anything, um, not being prepared to pay those payroll taxes, those 941s, for the state and for your state taxes and your also unemployment taxes. Having the right person again that's coaching you with everything to teach you in regards to have those things set to the side. You want to have those things in place again. Cutting those corners will come back and bite you in the butt. So you want to stay on top of that. Let me see if there's anything I'm thinking else that I'm thinking off the top of my head that people commonly miss out from a business standpoint with doing it. That record keeping is huge. The record keeping is huge. Filing the wrong forms. Still going back to when we talk about what a person side, finding credible people. Finding credible people. A lot of times people will get folks that are self-employed, and people will use them because hey, I'm self-employed, I can get this refund for doing it. A lot of times it's gonna bite you in the butt because number one, you can get yourself an audit. Number two, when people want to get serious and then they want to buy a car, and then they want to buy a house, and they want to show the bank, they showing the bank that listen, on my 1099 I made $200,000, but you filed a tax return saying you netted negative $20,000. And like, what the hell going on? Why are we giving you the money? You're losing all this money, and you have a leg to stand on because you're so worried about getting a $3,000 or $4,000 or maybe a little more, whatever, tax refund, majoring in the minor. So you got to make sure that you get credible, reputable people dealing with your stuff. Please, please, please do that. Because again, that's why we get a lot of time people call, oh, my tax man, my tax man did this, my tax lady, she did this, that, and that. And they probably did, but you knew they were doing that. You knew, and you didn't have a problem with it until you got audited. So you got to be careful, So let's take care of everything on the front end. With that said, and I'm here. Does anybody got any questions about anything? Anybody got any questions why you got me on and stuff like that? I'm here. I can answer any question you guys got. Let me see if I got anybody came in. If it's anything but tax related, if it's anything, business related, I'm on right now. Feel free to ask me any questions. I'm here right now. So if you got any questions, I'm here. Gonna shoot right now. I keep everything open before I close it down. That's business related. Let me see if I got anything with them. Tomorrow we got the show. I don't know if it's Change the Lives or Mr. Short Dollar tomorrow. With the show. I don't know which one it is, but I will show. Let me see something. I can't, if you're looking at on Instagram and TikTok, I can't show you the link to the actual tax course, but I can share that with everybody else on that. And I'm sorry. Make sure you go to Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube if you're looking at it on TikTok or Instagram, because I can't share those links in there right now. But you can also go to the YouTube channel and you can check it out. Then this is let me put that in now. Let me see. I already put the link to the course, but this is if you hit on the link, it will take you here. Hold on 1 second. Let's see if I can share this. That's not it. Let me see. That's not what I want to do. Come on, Mr. Burden. There we go. Share screen. See. Booyah. And right here, what we have is the Mr. Short Dollar tax course. Let me see if I can get this a little. How we can do this. Booyah. Okay, this is the Mr. Short Dollar tax course. And pretty much what we do again, this is a tax course that I made where teaching you if you want to start your own tax business, not teaching how to fill out forms or anything like that, but how to create and maintain a tax business and also how to grow it over time. So even if if you haven't started, you're thinking about doing it, or if you're already in business, you're like, look, man, I'm gonna start this tax business. I'm posting on Facebook, posting on Instagram, and I can't get any damn body come to me. This is the course for you, right? I've been in the game over 20 years. This is all I do. Right? It's all I do. I got other hands, other stuff, but this is my main thing. Again, I have clients. You can Google my business, Majestic Business Services, check out the Google ratings and stuff like that. This is what I do, right? So I'm sharing everything that I got in between my ears. I'm not sitting here promoting you can make $1 million in a day. You can do all this kind of stuff. I'm not going to tell you that. I will tell you exactly what you can probably look to make in year 1, year 2, and year 3, and just be realistic numbers and what you can plan to make if you want to get started in this business, and the actual steps you need to take from year 1 to grow to year 2 and to grow to year 3 to be okay, be sustainable with doing it, and then going forward. It's not, guys, I'm pretty sure you guys see it every year. You got plenty of close friends that they have, got, their stuff. Now they're saying they're doing taxes this year, they're doing it, whatever, and stuff like, damn, man, I ain't really, you know them, trust them, but you might trust them with the cooking, but you don't know if you want to give them your personal stuff, and it's nothing uncommon. With that said, they understand there's a lot of people they ain't finna give them their personal information. So with this particular business, because we're not selling cakes and cookies, people aren't too inclined to come to you if with their personal information. So if you're posting it on YouTube and you're posting on Instagram outside of the people that who actually is going to come to you, because again, we know the people that are close to us, they're not going to come to us because they want to maybe get some kind of credibility thing with doing it and stuff. So you gotta that helps a lot of people. So you went through all this process of getting all these things to start it up, but now you're posting, you're hardly getting anybody, and then you're getting people they don't like your price, they don't like how you do this, they don't like how you do that, and you don't really have a structure to do it. You just had a whole lot of dreams because you were sold it. This course teaches you everything you need to know in regards to creating, selling, structuring, operating, functioning, pricing, advertising, marketing, all that great stuff, and also offer coaching as well. So this is the actual page in regards to that. That's my handsome face. Talk about how to get started and everything. Fast track blueprint, learn the system. Pretty it's an intro video you'll be able to see. Again, go to Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. You'll see it. There's some happy clients of mine. Pretty much show you how much for all the course loads, different things we go over, different if you want to get a franchise, work independent, give you your daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly routines, different forms of regulations in regards to knowing, how to create the business, filing systems in regards to how to keep everything segregated, like I said, marketing and advertising, all that stuff is there. So listen, just go to the YouTube channel and you'll be able to see the link, hit on the link, you better go from there. Great program. I also have installment payments available. The course is, I think, $8.99. Yeah, do all this thing guessing. $8.99, or you can make 3 payments of $397. All those options are there. So again, just when you get a chance, go there and check that out. It's a great. It took me almost 2 years to build this course, and I make some adjustments here and there, but things are like, hey man, this idea I can put that on there. I've done that. A couple times and stuff, but just get your heads up on that. But that is the course. Let me get there. And so, listen, I don't see any questions with anybody coming in and stuff like that. But again, if you came in on the tail end, go to Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube, Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube, and you can check out the video. Like I said, again, and also take advantage of all the great information that we do have on the channel. Listen, I'm finna cut it short, guys. I hope you guys take care of yourself, be safe, and then I'll probably do another live feed, couple of them tomorrow on both channels. I'm other channel Changing Lives as well. So listen, take care of yourself, guys. Love you guys. Be safe, and I'll talk with you soon.